begin in the same way it began, with a small reenactment. So here I am in the rising sun in Wimborne, and we've just had a big celebration to switch on the lights in the internal lighting system, which was huge and brilliant. Ron, who used to run the pub, used to get the mayor to come along every year to switch on the lights inside the pub. And then this chap walked in. Ah,
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Gudger!
From somewhere.
You do know me from somewhere.
I do. I can't think where, but exactly, but I do know you.
You do know me, sir.
Dressed in that attire.
Yeah, come on over here. I've got an idea to put to you.
Ah.
Yes. So
That's when you have to worry.
Yeah. So this was how it all began, really. We were in the rising sun.
We was.
And Mr. Gudger, you weren't dressed like that, though.
Oh,
were you?
no, I was just dressed, well, I'm normal at the time. I got normal, you know what I mean? Yeah.
You had no clothes on.
No.
Yes, you did.
Well, people used to say, and they still do, it's
Yeah.
nice to see you with your clothes on, don't
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Which could get us in trouble if we were a little bit uncareful. So we founded the militia. We were sat in the rising sun, and I said, would you like to come along to the Save the Children parade?
But we weren't quite that quick.
Oh, we're not.
No, we haven't got that far. Because I said, well, I do know you said, yes, we've done battles for the Seal Dot.
That was it.
Together.
Yeah.
And he said, oh, that's it and that. And I ordered some beer and something to eat. Went sat down, you come over and you said, is it all right if I join you, Mr. Gudger? So I said, yes. And then it started.
Then I said, next week the Save the Children parade is happening, and would you like to get your kit on and come and join me, and we'll escort the mayor? And that is how it all began.
It did, and we talked about it. And I said to you, because we were doing this big parade, the children's parade to escort the mayor, how many of us is there? And he says, me and you. So that one, we had the big guard, one side,
Yeah.
one the other side, didn't we?
And you were worried that you didn't live in Wimborne at the time.
Oh,
weren't you?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't live in Wimborne at the time, but he said, don't worry, nobody will ask you. So we did, and we went from there, didn't we?
Yeah, and it was really good. So we'll take a seat, shall we, and
I will.
talk you through the photos that we
You
put up
better
here.
go from, because you're better at that than
Am I better at it than you?
Yes, absolutely.
I need to see what they're doing. So I'll go over here.
Right, I'll sit here.
Yeah. And we have a comedy show which is available for hire, doesn't it?
Something like that, Mr. Brown.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So I think
My goodness, there's a lot of people here.
there's a few
Was
people.
there that many in the Rising Sun on that Saturday?
Yes.
There
it
was, weren't
pretty-
there?
pretty
There
packed,
were loads of people, there's
Yeah.
thousands of lights.
Thousands.
Sorry, Mr. Brown, carry on.
That's all right, though. I think in 1998, when this occurred, it was Minna Harvey was the mayor, I think, wasn't she then? And this is where we accompanied. We then went on to accompany her with the Save the Children fund at their Christmas parade. So we cooked up this plan that maybe we could get a few other people to come and join us, didn't we?
We did.
Can you remember?
Well,
any?
but you said you'd been asked and given permission if you wanted to start up a militia.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and obviously I was the first member of the militia. Yeah.
And the commission that I went to the town council with was an idea that I'd come up that the town mayor's sergeant, which was my job title as a volunteer, would have been in charge of raising the county militia, the Wimborne's contribution to the county militia. So I said to the town clerk, a few friendly councillors, some of whom are here today, that we could form a militia. I don't think anybody else has got one. What do you think of it? And they said,
Wonderful.
wonderful, and that was good. And let's just see if we're snipping through this.
There's this young
who's that
man.
young lad there?
Yeah. I seem to know him.
Do you?
Yeah.
Is he in the audience?
Yes, he is over there. Hiding under that cap.
Yeah. So young Alfie was probably member number 4, wasn't he?
Well, he used to look after us when we went
To the
do you remember?
yeah.
Hastings and that.
Hastings, yeah, for the town criers. So
Absolutely.
Alfie too is when I was made town mayor's corporal, I think he said to you, Diane, what does that make me then? And I think we came up with town mayor's corporal, didn't we? Yeah, which was very sweet. And there we are, having a jolly time. And these were the other members from your group.
Oh yeah, the Browns.
The Browns.
Yeah, Tony and I forgot his wife's name at the moment. That's due to age, Mr. Brown.
Yeah,
we do forget things.
Yeah. And we also had Gareth Owen, who was another Sealed Knot member that lived locally. He was an archaeologist, and he just happened to be working on a dig in this area, and he called round for a cup of tea, and I told him what we were doing, and I said, do you fancy joining in? And given that he was power hungry, he immediately appointed himself the officer in charge.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And on the right here is Linda Harold, who was somebody I was working in an office next door to Linda. She was a medical herbalist, and she had surgery in what is now Rosemary's Restaurant, and I had an office in there as well. And so we used to have a cup of tea together and stuff. And I said to her one day, you know, do you fancy joining the militia? You know a lot, or come into the militia and telling us about herbs and things, because she really knew everything. And she came along, and then she joined up, didn't she? And her children joined up as well.
Yeah.
That's Lucy.
Lucy.
And this is James, but I haven't been able to find a picture of James with his face facing forward.
He was always running away, that's why.
Yeah. He was keen to do the practical things, wasn't he? Oops, we skipped two there. Sarah, too, came along. And this young man, do you remember this young man?
No, I can't sing very well from him.
He's devilishly handsome. Devilishly handsome.
Where?
This one on the end here.
What, handsome?
Don't you agree?
I can't see, it's a bit smudged.
It's a bit smudged. So this young man, he came along. In fact, he sent his mother ahead of him, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did, yes.
To have a word with these guys who were messing around on the Minster Green. And it was really, there's your mother. And your father, in fact, because they all joined as well. And lovely Giorgio here died young. It was a real shame.
He did.
And he was a real interesting model maker. But these were models beyond models, weren't they?
Oh yes, definitely.
They were ships. And so we gave him the job title of being our shipwright in landlocked Wimborne Militia, which was, he went along with it though, so that was good. And our first big event, no, that's not our first big event, but there's Karen and Abigail.
Abigail, yeah.
So we had a few civilians, we had quite a lot of people going on, didn't we?
You did, yeah.
And it was all good fun. And there's two more reprobates. Now these two ended up getting married, so it's Luke and Angie. Luke used to do card tricks on the public, and he was very good at it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In fact,
too good, Mr. Brown.
Too good, yeah. We thought he was actually a real life thief. But we couldn't prove it, could we?
No.
And then we had the Gorhams join us, who were good fun too. This is Tom and his father Simon.
Yeah.
And Tom was really interesting because he was one of those lads. I think we gave him a talk to the Scouts or something, and he came along and said, "Oh, I'd be interested in this." And he was a bit too young to have his own gun and license and things. So, but we got him joining in, didn't we? And he came along and we trained him up. And as soon as he was old enough, he got himself a gun license, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did really well. And I think it would be fair to say, I hope Tom wouldn't mind me saying it, but he was a lad who really lacked a lot of confidence when he first came to us. And I think by the time he left us, he was so confident he was pissing us off. But it was good.
Was he, Mr. Brown?
It was good to see him develop. And he's
absolutely.
A very nice lad, and he lives in Bournemouth still.
Yeah.
Simon there, he became our first ever education officer on the fact that he'd been to school for longer than we had.
Well, I'd only done 2 days.
You'd done 2 days, I'd done a week. But Simon there had become a teacher himself.
Oh, yeah.
So he must have done at least 2 weeks.
Yes.
And
I think he could count as well.
he's now a deputy head teacher at Upton, isn't it? Yeah, Upton School. I don't think we can take any credit for that though, can we?
Oh, I'm going to try.
Yeah, all right. And Zach, and I've forgotten her name. Jen. And they were early members as well. And Zach is now a full-grown lad charging around pool, causing havoc, isn't he? He's doing very well. Let's see who else we got here. Ah, yes. So we've talked about the Sealed Knot as being members of that, but I was also a member of the English Civil War Society, and these two people were very prominent members, and it was Roger and I forgot his wife's name.
I'm useless with names.
Pat, so. Roger and Pat, and they joined in the early days and were really very good and very supportive, and just lived over at Litchett, didn't they?
Yeah.
And Roger has he unfortunately died a few years ago, very suddenly. But he was a really great active member, and we enjoyed his company no end.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
their son is currently in the field with the cannons and the muskets.
Oh, great. Oh, right. Yeah. So, the son. What's his name again? Bob is over there. So go and have a word. And who else have we got here? Gary and Denise up there, two lovebirds. They lived on King Street. They've joined in for a long time. They've moved away recently. And Becca and Russell. That's right, well done. And they're there. And this was actually on a night we were doing. Are they here?
No, but if they behave themselves, we'll let them join, won't we?
Yeah, we'll let them join.
Yeah.
We met for a drink before the New Year's Eve firing the muskets at the cook's house, I think.
Yeah.
That's where that was. There's Sue Cook, that's with her boyfriend. Robin looks a bit different now, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And here's Sue when she was she mayor at this stage? No, she wasn't, was she? She was doing various things. Yeah, so this was our first big event, this. It was the beating of the bounds, and it was in the year 2000. Anthony Oliver was the mayor, and Anthony
look,
is
Mr.
here.
Brown
He's
is
here.
there,
He
he's
gives
sneaked
away.
in the
Yes,
back.
oh, thank you.
He's
There's chairs here if you want to sit down. You might need to run away. Okay.
Well, because of what we might say.
And so Anthony had got the Rogation Sunday information and worked out when it was that we could do it. And it hadn't been done since 1945, I think was the last time it was done. So given it was the year 2000, it was a good idea to try and redo it. And part of the boundary of the town of Wimborne runs down the middle of the Stour. And in 1945 they rode up the Stour as well. So from Dreamboat's area up to the beyond Julian's Bridge and up to where the football ground used to be. The year we were doing it, I don't know if you can tell there, but the river Stour was in full flood. And whatever happened to health and safety in that?
We didn't have any.
None of us had a life jacket on or anything. It was really quite foolish. But it was good fun. We went past one house there, and Anthony will remember this well, that somebody was shouting from, they had a garden that went onto the river, and somebody was shouting, you're not allowed to row past my house. And I think Anthony went, don't you know who I am? And
he said no.
She said no, she didn't care. But it was, we carried on. And I don't think we even got halfway to Julian's Bridge before we had to stop and then walk across these fields over here to meet everybody at the football ground. But it was a good laugh, and we met at each point of the boundary, and I'm hoping our current mayor will repeat this next year. So if we get him fired up to do it, it'd be a really nice thing to do, and we could turn it into a sponsored walk or something, so that we could raise some money for some good local causes. And we have down at the bottom, you probably can't see it, that's where we would read a declaration at each corner point, and we had the curate with us, and he would say a prayer, And we weren't as brutal as the pool boundary people, were they?
No.
No, because they torture children at each point, where they get them to remember the boundaries by pricking them with a needle, which I thought, as a child protection social worker, I should not do. I would be taking things a little bit far.
Oh, it would, Mr. Brown. Yes, yes.
And here's the thing, the prized piece of history, really. About and what makes Wimborne Minster different was that Wimborne Minster different than the militia special is that the town council and the mayor of Wimborne gave us a commission, and the very first commission was given by our good friend Diane down here, who was mayor at the time, and it was. I'll read it out to you actually because it is quite nice, isn't it? So the Town Council and Mayor of Wimborne Minster do hereby commission the Town Mayor's Sergeant to raise a militia to protect, defend and guard our town from villains, malcontents and rebellious forces opposed to the sovereignty of our nation under the following standing orders. 1. To promote the town of Wimborne Minster, its customs, heritage and glorious citizens. 2. To proudly carry the standard and colours of Wimborne Minster. 3. To offer accompaniment and protection to the worshipful mayor, the town council, its members and employees in the face of any threat or rebellion. We didn't cover the European referendum there, did we?
No.
And we went quiet on COVID.
Matter of fact, mine don't seem to be the same as you. But look.
Yeah, Mr. Gudger, you've got it upside down. It's upside down.
Oh, sorry. Well, I'm sorry, Mr. Brown.
You did spend our time wisely.
No, obviously, I misbehaved the 2 days we were at school, Mr. Brown. Yeah.
To provide spectacle and colour at civic, cultural and entertaining events as desired, to further historical research into the history of the town and its surrounds, in particular events relating to the 17th century, to share and disseminate learning and understanding of this great period in the town and nation's history through appropriate activities and displays. And finally, to share our enthusiasm for this period, to recruit, train other interested citizens in the arts and skills and aptitudes that are appropriate for the period. So that was our commission, and we get it every year when the new mayor comes in. They re-commission us as the Wimborne Militia, which makes us, we believe,
the only town or city or whatever you want to call it in the country that's got
a formal commission to raise it. So that was good fun. Everything's been good fun. This is one of the earliest group pictures I found, and it is alongside, you can tell where we are, it's near our headquarters.
That was our headquarters in them days.
It was, wasn't it? And we're actually with Wimborne Drama there, and they were doing the play The Crucible, which is set in the 17th century, and so they asked if we could do a publicity stunt on the green with them. So I read the Witchcraft Act, and we arrested and chased a few witches around the town, didn't we?
Yeah.
That was good fun. And you and I were actually in the play, weren't we?
We was at Tivoli, yes, Mr. Brown.
We tread the boards, didn't we?
We did tread boards very well.
And this was the picture of the beating of the bands and the river again. You can see how muddy it is. It really was in full flow. And not one life jacket. And there we are, early days. Is that on the Minster Green? I think it possibly is. Yeah. So we started doing displays on the Minster Green. There you are. Is that you, Mr. Gudger?
Is it handsome?
Yes, it's
yes,
the handsome
definitely
one.
me then. I can't see it properly, honestly.
And another nice picture there with Church House in the background. And I think that's the time we went to meet the pool beating of the bands, where I learned about their nasty practices of pricking children. Yeah. And the New Year's Eve firing. One of the things we offered to do quite early on was firing to scour, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To scour events and evil spirits, because they link all over the place. They linger and they're all over.
If you're quiet on New Year, you can hear them.
You can. So we decided that we would offer our services for New Year's and fire at midnight, which has become now a regular tradition, I believe. We haven't missed one, have we? No.
Well, at COVID we did a live stream.
Yeah.
So we fired cannons on a live stream.
Yeah.
We had quite a lot of people tune in for it as well.
See, these young'uns, they know their technology, don't they? I couldn't have done that. But there they are, firing on the New Year's Eve, which has been fun. The idea of scouring, in case anybody doesn't know, it really is to chase evil spirits away. And it was done going way back in time, before there were muskets and guns and cannons and things like that. So it was about making a lot of noise and making these spirits run away because of the noise. So we do it at Wassail as well, don't we?
We do.
We were doing it at Save the Children Fund, weren't we?
Yeah, that's it all.
Yeah, it was all good fun. And here's the opening of the Folk Festival.
Oh, there they are, Mr. Brown.
Yeah, there you are. And very nicely, it contains Brian Biss.
Oh,
I don't
Brian
know
from the...
if you can see down the bottom. And Robin was the mayor at this stage. And,
He was what? Robin?
Robin Cook.
Oh, name, sorry.
Yeah, he was the mayor, not robbing anybody. Well, you never know. He was in business, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Is he here?
No.
He's not. And there we were firing on the stage to scour the evil spirits over the Folk Festival. Some would say we haven't very succeeded with that yet, have we? And the other thing we're very proud to have begun is the Physic Garden, and this is behind the town hall. And what was it happened there? It's a waste bit of land, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
It wasn't being used for much, and the town council were going to restore the area, and I asked if we could perhaps plant the Physic Garden there to fit in with what we were trying to do,
Yeah.
and fit in with our commission aims to further the historical research of the 17th century. And it was lovely, really. The town council said, yes, you can. And they helped us with a grant towards buying these plants, which Linda, you remember Linda, the medical herbalist, and Kay were very influential in looking for the right sort of plants and the right stock. And Alex, you went up to a place near Newbury, didn't you? And you filled your van with genuine 17th century stock herbs and plants, which you then brought down, and we had a day planting, didn't we? It was good fun. Yeah, it was really good. And Sue Cook was the mayor again at some point, and there we are celebrating in the Physic Garden. And you can see it's grown up a fair bit now. Some of the stories about the Physic Garden are good, and one of the we had two openings of the Physic Garden. There was an unofficial opening where we were trying to get Bob Geldof to come along, and Anthony was the mayor at the time, and he'd written to the agents and the managers, and we were getting no response because we knew he was coming to the Tivoli to do a show, so we thought, well, maybe we could catch him before that. No chance, didn't hear anything from them at all. But if anybody knows Anthony Oliver, and I expect most of you do, he's a very determined man. And he was outside on Westborough, and he spotted a chap looking for a taxi, and he knew who this person was, and he went and went up to him, and I think Bob asked him if he could help him find a taxi, and he said he would do that. Immediately after, he came and planted some plants in the Physic Garden. So he collared him into coming round there, and we got him to plant the rosemary bush, and during that his phone went off, and it was clearly one of his daughters. We could hear one side of the conversation, and I could guess that the other side was that he said to you won't believe where I am. I'm surrounded by people in red coats, silver chains, and they've all got muskets. And she said, Daddy, have you been smoking that weed again?
That's true, yeah.
And he was good fun. He was very lovely, and he planted that early one for us. And then we had a formal opening. I think I haven't got all these in order, I don't think. So here we are at the formal opening, where we had the Earl and Countess of Wessex come along, and Ivy Ellis was mayor at this point, and they did the formal opening of the Jubilee Garden. And my little joke from that time was I was given the job of, well, you were given the job of showing the Duke around.
And firing the muskets. And
Yeah.
He says, Al, what have you been doing this? And I said to him, before I've done this, I was in this sealed knot. And I said, have you heard of it? He said, oh yes, I've heard of the sealed knot. What side was you on? I said, depending who paid best. And that, and then we fired off a volley of musket and that.
And it was the other. I then showed him around the garden, and I was explaining it to him, and I said, and of course, sir, we planted all this in memory of your mother. And he said, she was all right at breakfast. Do you know something I don't know? So I thought I was about to be sent to the Tower of London. But he was good fun.
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
it was.
And he was. Here we are. One of our what do you call this? Our hallmark events was getting banned for something, isn't it? We had
because we made the newspapers, didn't we? The big newspapers. It was quite good for us in the long run.
So what happened was that somebody complained about the muskets being fired off in town. Robin Cook was the mayor, he was away, and somebody was deputising for him, and that person listened to the complaint and took the decision that the muskets would be banned that year, which then resulted in quite an interesting outcry. I think I'd be correct in saying that is it the Rifle Association in America? I've forgotten what it's called. Something like that.
NRA.
NRA. Yeah. They heard of this story and they bombarded Town Hall with, how dare you ban an ancient custom, like this. And so everybody thought it was an ancient custom that you and I started just a few years ago. It was good fun, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. And the poor person who made the decision, he realised it wasn't the right decision
So
at all.
it did. But it made the big. And, we did fire the guns.
Yeah, we did.
If you remember, we loaded the guns, we held them up, and we shouted the biggest bang that you could have.
Yeah.
Bang!
Yeah.
And that was the fire at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then by the next year we were reinstated for the Christmas parade. Yes, this is another interesting little escapade. Do you remember this?
Oh yes. Yeah.
Well, I was very pleased in 2019 to be made a freeman, but before that, I got the idea of saying something about why don't we get the freemen to exercise their right of bringing the cattle through the town. And Sue was mayor, and she thought that was a great idea. Is Sue over here? Oh, Mr. Oliver was here too, I think.
Mr. Oliver was part of it.
Mr. Oliver was a freeman as well.
Absolutely.
And so there were 3 freemen at that point, and they were. So what we did, we set it up that Sue and others would bring sheep through the town, and we charged them at the bridge crossing over to Waitrose Green, and because that would have been the toll, and my job as town mayor sergeant would have been to collect this toll that was due. It's one of the ways the town mayor sergeant earned his money. So they came along and we confronted them, didn't we, on the bridge?
Yeah, well, the farmer put a pen up, didn't he? And he got his sheepdogs, and they walked through the town, through what's it called? Is it the Mead or something where the co-op is?
Cranmead.
I've only lived here all them years, still can't remember. And to the bridge to go over, weren't it? Yeah.
And you had a bit of trouble with the money, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But you gave me a very, considering I'd only been to school for 2 days, he asked me to collect the money and count it up, which was a bit silly.
Yeah, because you could only get to 2, didn't you?
Well, I stuttered at that, really.
And then, following that lot coming through, the freemen would bring through their animals as well, and they had to present their certificates proving they were freemen at the bridge, and we let them pass without payment, didn't we?
We did, yes.
And it was a great event. I'd really like to do that one
yeah.
again. It was good fun, and thanks to John and Karen up the road for lending us their sheep. Yeah,
And dogs.
and dogs. Yeah, and there we are with Sue on the bridge there. That's John in the background there, and there's the Freeman with the mayor. So that the Anthony, Grant Bocking, and Marjorie Ryan. Unfortunately, Marjorie passed away a few years ago, and since then, oh, who's that? Is that a Freeman? Anyway, since then, yeah, I was appointed a Freeman, and so's Pat Hymer's been appointed. So we're up to. Oh, and you, of course. Pardon me, Diane. Diane was the latest free woman. So that we're up to 5 now, which is good. This is a young recruit. Do you know who that is, Alex?
He's just
Oh.
had to pop out.
Oh, right.
But I know who that is.
You know who that is. Yeah. And she's doing a great job on a little scribe tent over on the other side there, getting children to sign up for the militia. And she's a very active member.
Yeah, and she's promised not to prick him with an eagle.
Yeah, we promised not to prick anybody with a needle. And that's Simon. I thought it would be an opportunity to tell you about the colour. So we based this, the blue and the silver cross, on the standard for the town council. The Wimborne crest has 4 linnets, are they?
Chuffs.
No, these are chuffs, but the Wimborne
Oh,
one
sorry.
has. Yeah, it's linnets, isn't it, or something? It's a little white bird, anyway. Martlets, that's it. Well done. So when we were designing this, I'm descended from a Cornish family called Arundel, and it's not the Arundels that had the over in Sussex. It's the Cornish ones, and their symbol was chuffs. So I said I wanted chuffs on it instead of martinets, and there we are. It happened. I was so pleased. And so that colour now we've spread that all around the world. There's a couple of our drummers. I don't know if we've been all around the world, but we've certainly been a long way. And I'm hoping to get to some pictures of further afield. Oh, but here we are. I think this was the first time we fired a cannon on the Minster Green, and I thought we wouldn't get away with that, but we did. It's quite good. And what's happening there, Mr. Gudger?
I can't see it properly. Oh, we're at the festival, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we're having IT.
Cream tea.
Absolutely.
So
yeah.
one of the things that came from our friendship as well is that we ended up DJing at a lot of festivals together, dressed like this.
We was known as the rock and roll town criers. I don't know why, because we didn't play rock and roll.
But yeah, it was funny, wasn't it?
But they named us that, and we used to do the festivals,
Yeah.
didn't we? Yeah.
And I had a really lovely one, but it didn't seem to make the cut. Of you dressed as Mrs. Gudger.
Well, I felt like the festivals on a Sunday you have Ladies' Day.
Yeah.
So a lot of the men dress up as women and the women dress up as men and that. So I did squeeze into my wife's dress, and I meant squeezing. It was,
But we went off doing that, and in the meantime, the militia has developed and evolved and become something quite different from the early days.
Oh
hasn't
yes,
it?
yes.
But it's
different,
developed,
but-
and they regularly now attend Chalk History Festival, and they go every 2 years to Groll is that Belgium or Holland? Holland. And Alex has assumed command with Jen as chair, so we have an elected chair, and we do all the usual things like have a treasurer and everything like that. And the thing has evolved into what you can see here, which I think, Mr. Gudger,
Marvellous.
I could say is marvellous,
Yeah.
and I'm extremely proud
Yeah.
that our silliness in the rising sun
In them days,
In all them
has
days.
ended up like this.
has ended up like this.
Silliness on the field.
So that's the story in a nutshell of how the Wimborne Militia was recommissioned and re-established, and we've had a lot of fun with it, haven't we?
We have.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And I'd like to thank you all for listening to us. And,